Part 15, Emergence of Negative Thoughts. If people knew and were aware of the power, strength and mightiness of their thoughts, some would remain in wonder for days, years, and some for the rest of their lives. According to spiritual energies, every thought that is created in a person can go to the end of the infinitely large cosmos in an instant and return to its own person in an instant. Such a small yet such a powerful energy, which many energies in the cosmos cannot boast of. What most people on the planet do not know is that a positive thought heals, while a negative thought damages many energy structures in a person's aura, and after a period of time, these damages descend to the physical level in the form of illnesses and hardships. Negative thoughts are the cause of diseases and hardships in over 80% of human cases. And these thoughts not only damage the aura of their own person, but also damage the aura of the planet Earth, which is forced to adjust its internal earth structures with the help of volcanoes and earthquakes due to the strong negative thoughts of people around the world. And now we convey to you a part of the sayings from spiritual energies with the topic, The Emergence of Negative Thoughts, by Ljubisa Stojanovic, who in deep meditation transferred these sayings to the book, Man, Origin and Future. One wonderful truth says, a man will never be completely free while he has his negative thoughts. And indeed, they block his freedom of mind, body, movement, and thinking, hinder his creativity, intelligence, health. They are the armor that surrounds the body and, the more they are, the more they tighten, restrict, reduce its freedom. We talked about how man began to avoid, ignore, keep silent, suppress the instructions he received from the luminous body, when they were in conflict with his actions or thoughts that suited him better. In this way, there was a gradual, increasingly weak contact with the luminous body, because man deliberately suppressed it, ignored it, until this contact was extinguished completely, so today's man is not able to consciously receive any information from the luminous body. What about negative thoughts and how did they develop? Negative thoughts are those thoughts for which we say that deviate from the path or will of the Creator. These are, therefore, wrong thoughts, which include hatred, envy, struggle for power, dissatisfaction, worry, grief and fear. Their harmful effect on humans is enormous and is reflected in the fact that they cause over 80% of all chronic organic and psychological diseases, lead to a weakening of the functioning of the nervous system, a reduction in creativity, intelligence, spirituality and humanity. As long as the contact with the luminous body was good, it criticized people's negative thoughts, warned them, and directed them to be removed. That is why there were few of them and human thinking was harmonized with the will of the Creator. However, the very process of weakening the contact with the luminous body enabled the creation of negative thoughts, because they were not sufficiently criticized, their harmfulness, wrongness and direction were not pointed out in a proper way. This means that the weakening of contact with the luminous body, which man caused in order to avoid some instructions that were contrary to what he was doing and thinking, gradually opened the way for an increasing number of negative thoughts which, due to the weakening of contact, could no longer be criticized nor there was no longer enough warning for their change, i.e. neutralization. This increased the number of negative thoughts step by step, in the sense of reduced to a minimum direct warnings through consciousness, that is, completely extinguished, which enabled the flourishing of negative thoughts, without control, without any warning and without pointing out their wrongness and harm. Because of this, the number of negative thoughts grew unhindered and each person created as many as they wanted. Unfortunately, at that time still weak luminous bodies, in most people, they could not block this process, so it spread to other people, almost without control. This happened especially in some areas where there were foci of intolerance, national, racial and religious, spreading their negative influence on other surrounding people. In addition, an even more significant role was played by a kind of ease of nonchalance in the creation of people's negative thoughts, which arises from the nature of man and which contains a certain amount of non-self-criticism, attempts to escape from obligations, escape from guilt and put the blame on other people. This cause is actually the dominant one, while the previously listed causes were only a supplement and reinforcement in the development of this most negative human trait. This is why human civilization has reached this state. Of course, negative thoughts and stress damage the aura, creating the so-called energy jelly, which in that person leads to a worse flow of white bioenergy and finally to the appearance of chronic diseases, even the most severe ones. This is, therefore, a consequence of the enormous development of negative thoughts, not as a punishment, because such a thing does not exist in the cosmos, but as an admonition, as a warning, as a cause and effect connection between negative thoughts and stress in one hand and the appearance of illness in the other. Even this direct warning, since there is no longer any warning through consciousness from the luminous body, was not enough for people to understand that illness is the result of negative thoughts and stress and that if we want to be healthy, we need to have only positive and neutral thoughts, which will be a guarantee of our health. In addition to health, it is also a guarantee of our creativity, intelligence and spiritual development. The treasury of sacred knowledge thanks you for your interest, and sends you a lot of spiritual patience and love.